I used to work for a company that provided highly specialized industrial equipment, machines that could make or break an entire production line if handled wrong, the kind of stuff that only a handful of engineers really understood. I was one of them. Every client we dealt with knew me as the fixer. If something broke, I made it work again. If a new system needed installing, I made it happen, smoothly, perfectly, every single time. So yeah, I took pride in my work. Not because it was glamorous, but because it required precision, patience, and a mind that understood systems most people couldn't even begin to figure out. That's how I met Jake. He was one of those clients who tried to be everyone's buddy when he wanted something done. But the moment it came to money, he suddenly became all business. Still, he wasn't the worst client I'd dealt with, at least not back then. Months after I'd left that company for a better job, my phone rang. It was Jake. "Hey man, got a new unit that needs installing, and another one that needs maintenance. Any chance you're available this weekend?" I told him I'd left the company, but I could connect him with someone who could handle it. That's when he said the words that made me pause. "I'll pay you double your current rate if you handle it personally." Double? For a weekend gig? He said the company's prices had gone up, his engineers were stumped by the new setup, and the instructions were basically gibberish. He sounded desperate. And honestly, I liked Jake enough at the time to help him out. So I agreed. That Saturday I drove out to his facility, Industrial Park, middle of nowhere. The kind of place that hums with electricity and smells faintly of oil and metal. They had boxes of equipment stacked up, waiting for me. No one else was working that day, so it was quiet, just the hum of fluorescent lights and the clinking of my tools. Installing this unit isn't easy. It can take hours, sometimes a full day, depending on how well the site is prepped. Still, after 6 hours, I'd made serious progress. Sweat dripping down my neck, I was almost done when I heard footsteps behind me. Jake walked in. He had that fake corporate smile plastered on, too tight, too rehearsed. But something in his eyes immediately made me uneasy. He clapped his hands once and said, "Hey man, looking good. Almost done." I nodded. "Yeah, just finishing calibration. Should be up and running soon." Then he dropped it, casually, like he was commenting on the weather. "Oh, by the way, we just don't have the budget to pay you." I froze. "What do you mean you don't have the budget? You literally offered double." He sighed like I was being unreasonable. I know, but the higher-ups changed their mind. Our own engineers can finish it from here. You've done enough." I felt my jaw tighten. 6 hours of labor. My weekend gone. And now he was just shrugging me off like I was some temporary intern. There's a special kind of anger that hits you when someone exploits your time and your skill, and smiles while doing it. I wanted to explode. But instead, I smiled back. "Sure, Jake. Whatever you say. Now here's where things get interesting." Inside that machine, buried beneath the wiring and panels, is a tiny button. It's used for testing during maintenance, test mode. When that button is pressed, the unit can't be configured. It looks like it's working, but it'll never start properly. And here's the thing. You can only reach it with a pin. It's not in the manual. Even the company instructions never mention it, because you're never supposed to touch it unless you know exactly what you're doing. So, while Jake walked me out, thanking me for my help, I reached in, pressed the hidden button. Click. The machine hummed innocently, none the wiser. Jake shook my hand. I smiled back, grabbed my tools, and left. He thought he'd won. But I knew the truth. He'd just trapped himself in a problem no one but me could solve. Monday morning, my phone buzzed. Jake. I ignored it. Then again, voicemail after voicemail. By Wednesday, he'd called over a dozen times. When I finally picked up, his tone had shifted from smug to desperate. "We can't get it to work. Nothing's configuring properly. Our engineers have no idea what's wrong. Please man, I need your help." I let a beat of silence hang in the air. Then said, calm and cold, Why is this my problem? You didn't pay me, remember? He stammered. Look, I'm sorry, okay? We'll work something out. Just please come fix it. I smiled. All right, £7,000. Up front. He lost it. Yelling, cursing, calling me names. I hung up. The next day, he called again, voice completely different. Defeated. Fine. Just send me your details. The money hit my account that afternoon. £7,000. I drove to his facility the next morning. Jake met me at the door, dark circles under his eyes, hair a mess. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. I walked over to the machine, took out a small pin from my toolkit, reached in, and click. Try it now, I said. He pressed the main switch. The machine whirred to life like it was brand new. Flawless. Jake's face twisted from confusion to realization. He knew. He knew. He opened his mouth, probably to yell or demand an explanation. But I was already packing up my tools. Easiest £7,000 I've ever made, I told him. Then I walked out. And that was it. There's something deeply satisfying about poetic justice. The kind of revenge that doesn't involve shouting or chaos, just quiet, surgical precision. Jake learned that day what happens when you mess with a professional problem solver. He thought he could cheat me out of my pay. Instead, he paid triple, and learned a lesson he'd never forget. Revenge doesn't always need to be loud. Sometimes, it's as subtle as a single button press, and the sweet sound of a machine finally working, only after justice has been served. If that ending made you smile even a little, smash that like button, subscribe for more true stories like this one, and tell us in the comments, what's your favorite kind of revenge? Quiet and clever or explosive and public? Because in the end karma always finds its way.